Hi Reds, the final preparations are now underway as Manchester United turn their full attention towards their last pre-season friendly of the summer against AC Milan on Saturday in Wrocław, Poland. With the new Premier League campaign now just around the corner, Michael Carrick and his coaching staff know this is no longer simply about getting minutes into the legs. This is the final opportunity for the Reds to sharpen their tactical ideas, build confidence, assess the squad, and make sure the players are ready for the intensity of competitive football. United's pre-season schedule concludes against Milan on August 15th, with the Premier League campaign beginning shortly afterwards. Today's training session was heavily focused on work on the grass, with the players going through a series of technical and tactical exercises designed to prepare them for another demanding test. The session included shooting drills, finishing exercises, set-piece routines, defensive blocking systems, and several other tactical patterns. The coaching staff were looking for sharp movement, quick decision-making, accuracy in front of goal, and better organisation when defending dangerous situations. These are exactly the details that can make the difference once the real competition begins. The shooting and finishing work was particularly important. United have spent much of pre-season developing their attacking structure, and Carrick will want his forwards and midfielders to be ruthless when opportunities arrive. The message is simple: create chances, attack spaces aggressively, and punish opponents when openings appear. Against AC Milan, the Reds will face another strong European side, meaning United cannot afford to waste opportunities. The final friendly should therefore provide a valuable examination of how clinical this squad can be when the pressure is increased. Set-piece work was another major part of the session. United worked on attacking routines as well as defensive organisation, including blocking systems and positioning inside the penalty area. These situations can often decide tight matches, and Carrick will be desperate to see his players execute their responsibilities with concentration and discipline. Corners, free kicks, defensive blocks, and second ball situations have all become important parts of modern football, and United will need to be switched on from the first whistle against Milan. The biggest positive heading into this final test is that the squad is becoming increasingly complete. After players returned at different stages because of international commitments and rest periods, more and more senior players are now back around the group. The coaching staff have consequently had a better opportunity to work with the squad collectively rather than relying on smaller groups. That continuity could be hugely important as United prepare to move from pre-season football into competitive Premier League action. The Reds also come into the Milan match with confidence after their latest friendly against Leeds United in Dublin. Now comes AC Milan. This is arguably the most intriguing pre-season fixture of the summer because Milan provide a completely different type of challenge. The Rossoneri have quality, experience, and players capable of punishing mistakes immediately. United will therefore need to show much more than attractive football. They need concentration, physical intensity, tactical discipline, and the mentality to compete for every ball. And there is an additional storyline surrounding the fixture because AC Milan are now managed by Ruben Amorim. That makes Saturday's meeting even more interesting for Manchester United supporters. Several players and staff members will know Amorim from his time at Old Trafford, while the Portuguese coach will also know plenty about the strengths and weaknesses of some of the United players. It could make the final pre-season friendly feel much more competitive than a normal summer game. For Carrick, however, the priority will be his own team. This is the final rehearsal before the season begins, and he needs to determine which players are ready to start the competitive campaign. Who has earned a starting position? Who has impressed most during pre-season? Which players have developed the strongest understanding with their teammates? And perhaps most importantly, which tactical system gives Manchester United the best chance of competing at the highest level? Away from the training pitch, Manchester United's transfer activity continues to attract huge attention. One of the biggest names being discussed is Carlos Baleba. According to Ben Jacobs, if United decide to make a move for the Brighton midfielder, Baleba would choose Manchester United over the other options available to him. However, that does not mean a deal is imminent. United have previously considered Baleba, while his valuation and current situation remain important factors. Recent reporting also indicates that Newcastle are interested and that United have continued to monitor the midfielder. Baleba would certainly be an exciting addition to Carrick's midfield. He possesses physicality, energy, and the ability to cover ground, qualities that could complement United's existing midfield options. But the question is whether United should spend heavily on another midfielder when there are still other areas of the squad that need attention. In my opinion, the recruitment team must be extremely careful. Signing a player simply because he is available is not enough. United need the right player, at the right price, for the right tactical role. Another name making headlines is Paris Saint-Germain youngster Ibrahim Mbeumo. Reports indicate that Manchester United have opened discussions with PSG regarding the young attacker, with a loan deal potentially being considered, while a permanent transfer is also reportedly on the table. PSG are said to want more than €50 million for a permanent move. This is an interesting situation because Mbeumo already showed his quality against United during pre-season, scoring in PSG's 1-1 draw with the Reds before Mbeumo equalised. Then there is the emerging deal for Leicester City youngster Lewis Page. Reports indicate that United are progressing towards an agreement for the 18-year-old, with a package of around £10 million reportedly agreed in principle, and a long-term contract now awaiting final details. Arsenal and Aston Villa have also shown interest, but United are pushing to get the deal over the line. There is even a possibility that Page could be integrated into the first-team picture, rather than immediately being treated as a player for the distant future. For me, the Page situation is particularly interesting. Manchester United need to build not only for tomorrow, but also for the next 5 years. If the club genuinely believes Page has the potential to develop into a first-team midfielder, investing around £10 million could prove extremely smart business. The question is whether Carrick will trust him with meaningful minutes this season, or whether United will prefer to develop him gradually. There is also fresh speculation surrounding Christopher Nkunku. AC Milan are reportedly prepared to consider selling the French forward, potentially creating a late opportunity in the transfer market. United reportedly admired Nkunku during previous discussions involving Alejandro Garnacho, and his versatility would certainly make him an attractive option. He can operate in several attacking positions and possesses the technical quality to play between the lines. But again, United must ask themselves whether Nkunku is actually the priority. The Reds already have attacking options, and the return of Rashford adds another dimension to the forward line. If United are going to spend significant money, should they prioritise a midfielder or left-back instead? That is where the transfer strategy becomes fascinating. David Raum is another name to watch. Reports suggest that the RB Leipzig left-back was offered to Manchester United rather than United making the initial approach. The player has reportedly been discussed internally, and the situation is worth monitoring because left-back remains an area where United could strengthen. Recent reporting has also suggested that the club has a strong desire to add an attacking-minded full-back, with Lewis Hall and other options being considered. Raum could therefore represent an interesting market opportunity, but being offered to United does not automatically mean the club will sign him. United must decide whether he fits Carrick's system, whether the financial package makes sense, and whether he represents a better option than the club's existing targets. That is the beauty of this stage of the summer. Manchester United are simultaneously preparing for a new season and making decisions that could shape the squad for years. On the training pitch, Carrick is building the footballing identity. Behind the scenes, the recruitment team are trying to identify the final pieces of the puzzle. And now the question for every United fan is simple. Are Manchester United ready for the new season? The signs from pre-season are encouraging. The squad has continued to build fitness, new players are adapting, returning players are getting back into the group, and Carrick has had the opportunity to test different combinations.